are. And I'm not certain whether I have copies for everybody. I may need to get you all to share a version. Here, Cindy. Well, I almost had it on. Ran out of one. I need to give one to the treasurer. So, let me know if you have any questions. It's a lot to cover. I don't think we have time to really go down all the line items, but I think a couple things to take away from this is that the budget's tracking really well. It's pretty rare in our business to start out with a project with your base bid of $11,098,000, and at this point in time, a year into this project, we're less than that. I mean, after all the change orders and changes and everything, we're less than 11. You know, we're 11,014,000. So right now, so we've actually saved money overall, which is pretty unusual. And we are doing our best to try to track that. On the left-hand side in the beige coded area here, you're seeing tracking allowances. We have a handful of allowances in the project, sort of unknown at the time of bid, but things that we know we want to reserve some money for. Tracking furniture, tracking just anything and everything we can think of, including things we can't think of, such as contingency. So you'll see, I think it's line number 44 in red, the construction contingency is down to $200,000, which is pretty good considering where we're at in the overall scheme of things. We're out of the ground, there aren't any more really big surprises left. So we're tracking really well. The overall spreadsheet has the Blytheville Courthouse at the top, but you'll see in the center section it covers Osceola as well and all the changes there. In the lower left corner, you can see where we have summarized the re-roof project and the obligation of $2 million to Osceola and how much has been spent on the re-roof project to Osceola. We've exceeded that $2 million obligation with the changes that we've done to Osceola. And we have in front of you, I think today, to consider another change order for more repairs to Osceola, which are related to waterproofing, if you will approve it. So at the bottom line there, line number 104, you can see the lower right corner, there's $500,000 it's undesignated. So that's, you know, that is not called for in any specific budget. It's just more contingency, I guess you can say, between the two projects. So we feel like we're doing pretty good overall. Let's see, you want me to talk about the change order that we're considering?
I'll just point out a couple of things so we sent, I sent you guys a budget from last month. The only thing that's really changed from that one to this one is we did add change order number 12 at the top, the 32,000.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Is that that?
Yeah, so change that was just signed last week, just issued last week. It is for changes to the millwork, to the judge's office, we added some partitions, like on the outside the large courtroom, we've got surface mounted conduit and boxes in places for televisions and fire alarm and stuff, and right outside the main courtroom, it'd be nice if we could conceal some of that stuff, so we added some partitions to hide the electrical conduit. We also had a couple of places where the old light fixtures used to be and they were not centered. Just an annoying little thing that drives me nuts, so we want to center those lights because it's, everybody will notice why on earth did they not center those lights. So we're spending a little bit to correct that.
Okay.
So that's basically what that is. A credit and reduction of acoustical panels. We had some acoustical panels in the large courtroom.
Yeah. Okay.
Those got smaller,
okay.
So we got a credit back, because they're just not as big as we showed them originally. So in essence, it comes to a net add of $32,746.
Okay, and then we also got a definite number in for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which is line 46. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So originally, if you go back on some of the old ones we handed out, just the last one, line number 46 was $750. So when we
Right.
started this project, we had $750,000 that we were holding out for furniture. We were able to come in far below that figure with furniture on the project, so we feel pretty good about that. By the way, the blue boxes are known figures, so they're set and they're not expected to change. Any boxes you see in beige or that pinky color, they're actual numbers, but they might fluctuate a little bit. So it's just the more blue, the better.
And I do want to just remind everybody, so this is kind of just the overall tracking of where the money is going to be spent. This doesn't represent money that's been appropriated, certainly doesn't represent the checkbook balance or anything like that. This is just how we're spending the money. And definite expenditures, like it doesn't talk about how much money we've actually paid out to CNI or anything like that. This is just an overview of the project.
Right.
One thing that we did also, just to bring up one more time, that we did change was line item 94, the anticipated moving expenses back to the new courthouse. We did increase that to
Yeah.
$125,000.
Yeah, I had it at 50, I think, before, so
Yeah.
we were anticipating a much bigger change. And then we updated the interest, so even farther below that, lines, 99 through 102 or 3 or so.
Right.
And the interest earned on some of these accounts, which is substantial, so we've just accounted for those figures as well.
No, that's really been a help.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to remind everybody what we're talking about, so when the voters voted on this project, they voted to give Osceola $2 million, a minimum of $2 million to their project. And as of today, we have appropriated and they've committed their $2 million plus $42,000 of their interest that was earned on the money that was designated for Osceola. So so Aaron would like to talk about potentially allocating or appropriating part of this $528,000 down here at the bottom to the Osceola project to further continue.
Yeah.
I hate to call it roofing because it's not really a building. It's exterior building maintenance that will continue to enhance outside of the building, but most importantly, will keep the water out of the building. So.
Yeah, so you can see on the list of change orders that we've approved so far on Osceola, there are things such as terracotta repairs, masonry repairs, repointing. So all related to keeping water out of the building. Obviously, by the way, the copper dome is pretty well finished. The scaffold is coming down this week on the dome itself. So you will see the copper exposed better than you've seen before. But they're also addressing all of the terracotta damage over the years. The joints are wide open, missing mortar. Reglazing, where some of the terracotta has popped off and exposes what they call the bisque of the terracotta, which is not protected, can absorb water. The glaze is what protects the terracotta. So reglazing, so it's pretty time-consuming, very intricate work to show you all that goes on as far as terracotta repairs. So the change order that we're considering today amounts to $228,000 basically for additional terracotta repairs and repointing work on all the parapet walls. So if you can picture in your mind the Osceola Courthouse, you've got the copper dome, and below the dome is all the terracotta brick that's at the base of the dome, which you really don't see from the ground. But what you do see from the ground are the four walls around the building, really tall parapet walls that have all the ornamental terracotta work on the corners especially. I've got photographs I could show you if you wanted to see, but you can see them up close with the scaffold that's on the building right now, and the joints are wide open. So there's just a lot of places where water can enter the building on those exterior parapet walls. Because the scaffold is there for the project, it would be probably a good thing to do while they're there to go ahead and hit those joints. So the 230 is intended to take care of all of the masonry and terracotta above the built-in gutter that surrounds the building on all sides. So you can't see it, but there is a built-in gutter on the courthouse. From down below, it's just a cornice that projects out from the building, almost all the way up top. If you look at the top side of that cornice, it's a built-in gutter. And the way they built it those days was to guide that water back to an internal roof drain. We fixed all those internal roof drains a few years ago. But all the terracotta from that built-in gutter up to the tops of the parapet walls is this proposed change order. So we recommend that you approve it. It is a lot of money, I understand that. But most of the mortar is missing from those terracotta joints, and it needs to be repointed. If not now, at some point. But
at some point, we'd have to put the scaffolding back up, wouldn't we?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, there is some savings and benefit. In fact, the scaffold's already there. A portion of this money does include additional scaffold to build it up, because they haven't taken that scaffold all the way up. Those parapet walls, they've taken it only where they have to get access to the base of the dome. This would cover additional scaffold to get them to those areas safely, built on the scaffold that's already there. But you're right, if you did not pay for this now, you would have to come back later and pay for all that scaffold all over
And
again.
it's expensive.
It is.
I don't know, I didn't look at the change order, or I don't know if it details it, but scaffolding is expensive.
Yeah.
So it's substantial savings if we do it now.
Aren't we just kind of protecting the $2 million we've already put in it?
Well, I would think that's a
Yeah.
great way to look at it, great way to look at it.
It's just gonna take care of most of our water that's coming in, because I was sitting in the courtroom there in there last week, and I kept noticing the damage to the wall in the courtroom.
Yes. Yeah, so this will address most of the water that's happening, and the built-in gutter, which is already in the previous change order. Yeah, there's a photograph attached. You can see this is what we're talking about. The built-in gutter's down here. We've already addressed the previous change order, which is a lot. To have all that reflashed, I think a lot of water is coming in that gutter. That's probably most of it. This is also probably a fair amount, but all these good joints are wide open. So, yes, plus we're replacing those windows in the courtroom. So that too needs to be done. And that's already been approved.
Right, we did part of the window,
Yeah,
right?
Yep. So yeah, all this is water related, preservation of the building.
And then I did not see the proposal. I thought I just printed off the email, but one other thing that Aaron and the judge have worked on is the pigeon issue. So it was,
Yeah.
did Renaissance?
So we asked them at the end of last year to give us a cost to help with the pigeons, and they came back with a cost of about $30,000 to do more scaffold inside that area, hard to reach up there at the entryway, and install something called Nixolite. They're little spiky things, stainless steel spikes that keep the pigeons from roosting on those column capitals. The judge and I have talked about it, and I'm not as convinced that we necessarily approve that one, even though I've put it to you and I think it's something that needs to be done. I kind of feel like maybe that's something we see if we could get some additional bids on.
Okay.
Renaissance Roofing, they do great work. What's really helpful about that contractor is that not only do they do roofing, but they have that masonry experience in-house for the repair of terracotta, which is pretty rare. Wood windows, they've got a carpenter in-house because they're just accustomed to dealing with these issues on lots of old buildings. That's helpful. But the Nixolite stuff, I'm not sure it requires the expertise, that you get from Renaissance. So I feel like we ought to maybe shop that one around a little bit, see if we can get that one done for less. $30,000 seems like a lot of money for that work. I know it's important and needs to be addressed. I don't feel strongly, I guess, about approving that one as I do the waterproofing.
Well, okay, so if let's just kind of cut to the bottom here. So if we appropriated the $228,000 for the change order to do the, for number 13, to do the cut and point.
Right.
And then if we also just added an additional $30,000 in there, that would bring us to, let's just say, $260,000 additional dollars going to Osceola, which would still leave us with, I just erased it. It would still leave us with quite a bit of undesignated money, over $200,000 worth of undesignated money. So when you add the undesignated money in with our contingency, that's still $200,000, plus our return expenses, we still have quite a bit of money that's out there. So
Yeah.
if I were making a recommendation to the committee, which I'm not, I would say that we go ahead and appropriate the, yep.
I'll second it.
Right, is there any discussion?
Oh, I'd love to do my long speech on that one.
You can do it.
I was
You
gonna
can
go
go
into
ahead.
all the water and the corners and all that, but no, 260 appropriated to take care of the water damage. Yes, in Osceola.
Right, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, then we'll go ahead and we'll move that and appropriate it where it's ready to go. There is about $778,000 left appropriated in the Blytheville fund. I think that will be fine for this month. Aaron, okay, one more thing. So we do have the sheriff and here today, and I thought we could talk about the metal detector and the x-ray machine.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So you're saying, so we'll put an x-ray machine and a metal detector at the main entrance, and then there will not be any further.
Yeah, so we've never really nailed it down. We've just known, well, as far as the design of the building goes, we've assumed that there would be an x-ray machine and a metal detector at the front entrance, and front entrance only. Not outside each of the courtrooms any longer. It's just generally the way you do new buildings these days, is you're checking them on entry into the building. So I think we've found a couple of x-ray machines and metal detectors that were ADA accessible. You've got one metal detector, I think now that I don't think is ADA. But I just found some equipment that I thought might work for that purpose, but I'm no expert in that area, and whoever is responsible for actually doing the scanning, I would want, the sheriff's department to really, at the end of the day, make that selection. The space is limited in the lobby, so we've tried to find something and recommend something that's compact, but it comes down to the sheriff's experience and what it is that they're scanning, and as far as the size of the x-ray that you get, we found something I think that would allow for like a purse size basically, or a small box, but nothing substantial. So, we were exchanging emails, I think, with Morgan early on about possible equipment, but we've not really followed up. So,
Is it wide enough to take a briefcase or something of that size?
yeah, that's right.
What about the opening as far as the line, ADA folks coming in a wheelchair or something?
Yeah,
Through there?
it's 36 inches clear, which is, I think ADA is 32, I think, so I think they make it 36 clear. So ADA could go through there. I don't know how that actually works, since it's a metal detector and there's got to be metal on that wheelchair, so I don't really know how that all works, does it? But anyway, it would be ADA accessible. And then we have power in the slab, so that you shouldn't have to have a cord running to the equipment. It's just all right there, and you come in the front entry door for scanning.
Who is the company that's producing
That
what you're talking about?
does the equipment? Well, so Homeland Safety Systems is doing all the cameras, which I know you guys have worked with before on the jails. We have asked for their help in some of these areas, but we have also sort of just done some shopping on our own to sort of ask the question. Google is a wonderful thing. To just kind of find, what all is out there. and talked to a few company representatives about the different kinds of equipment and the latest in technology and, you know, what things, comparing costs and all, and what they really scan. So we found something that we thought was reasonable, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's sort of, you all know better what kind of risks and sorts of things you need to scan every day and look for. You would want to sort of read the fine print, I think, of whatever device it is. And even if you do it, I guess.
Are they gonna be available that we can discuss it with them
Yes.
to answer any potential
Oh,
questions?
yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, so I think we got some cost budgets that include the equipment and training and software.
Good.
So we've designed in the addition a little security station office. So right there will be all the monitors for all the cameras, and you'll have a computer right there. So all of the settings and training could go on. I assume that's where you all would be set up, probably right there at the front entrance. But yeah, we have included in it training. Yep.
May I ask a question that just because I'm unaware of it, the other entrances, are they all gonna be like key code access only, since this is only going in one
Yes.
area? Okay.
Yeah, so there's one primary staff entrance, which will be fobbed only. All the other entrances into the old courthouse will be by fob only, or they are emergency egress only.
So they can go out of
They
them,
can
but
go out,
they can't come in.
they can't go in. If they go out, it'll set off an alarm. It's all controlled. There's essentially one way in, one way out for 98% of the use for that courthouse.
Is that in the new edition or is that the old main
It's
entrance?
in the new addition.
It's in the new.
Yeah, so the new parking lot, is on the south, or is on the north side of the building there.
Right.
All the public's gonna be coming in to the north side at the main entrance in the
Okay.
addition. That gives us the ability to do it the way we wanted to and set it up. So,
Okay.
all the public's coming in that one entrance.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So does that work for you guys?
Works for us, we just like to discuss it with the,
Okay.
whichever company's gonna be,
Yeah.
potential
Sure. Yeah,
suppliers of the equipment.
Mhm.
All right, okay, so I'll just leave that up to y'all.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Judge, do you have anything for us? You wanna make any comments?
Other than, well, as we've just discussed, we're under budget, and I'm gonna say that, I've been saying we're under budget and on schedule. The schedule may have been pushed back a little bit more, but we're in good shape, and everything seems to be coming along without really a whole lot of troubles.
All right, do you guys have a meeting set again?
Tomorrow? Yeah, yeah.
Look at me. No, sorry.
Well, we're doing it online, it's our online Zoom.
Okay,
Was what
okay.
we
No.
talked about, but I know our schedule has gotten goofed up a little bit here lately, so it's not quite as regular as it used to be. So I think that's what we have in mind is tomorrow at 10 a.m., our usual Zoom.
Okay.
meeting. I wanted to be here today to really just walk through and see all the issues there are to see and be prepared to ask questions of the contractor tomorrow.
Okay, and so what he's talking, so you've been coming about every other week, is that
Uh-huh.
about right? So he's been coming every other week, and he has a meeting with, it's called the OAC, and where he meets with the owner, which was the county, which is the judge, the architect, which is you, and then the contractor. And so they sit down and go over things, and we have been scheduling the energy and property meetings to kind of coincide with those on the day that Aaron's here, so that he can come back and report and answer any questions that we may have. So
Yeah.
I'll just kind of wait to hear from you, and then we'll set the next energy and property after that, just to kind of keep an update. Right now, like you said, it's just kind of moving along. We haven't really had too much to discuss as far as most of the decisions have been made, and we're
Yeah.
moving along.
Yeah.
So, all right. If that is, does anybody have anything else? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, thank you guys.